How you doing, everybody? It's me, Crazyfrankie, and I'd like to welcome you to my AFC Conference Division Picks. I am back for another season of predicting and obviously my opinionated talk on NFL football. The regular season is getting underway very, very soon, and I just want to before I make my Week 1 predictions, I want to get my predictions in for both the AFC and NFC conferences. Now, this is going to be a two-part video because I want to try to keep these videos as short as possible, and I don't want to drag on and on, basically. So, one video will be devoted to the AFC, and then another video will be devoted to the NFC. So now, keep in mind that my predictions are opinionated, and obviously you could check out every other NFL pundit through NFL.com or ESPN.com or whatever sources you get for football. And obviously, that's basically it. So there's going to be a couple things when I keep in mind about my predictions for the division winners in both conferences. We have to keep in mind on two things here. Number one, we're still in the middle of the COVID pandemic, so things could change at any moment. As you can see, for a lot of teams that had to struggle with players getting COVID or not following COVID protocols. And number two, obviously, injuries are a big concern. I know for some players, they have already lost some players for the season, and obviously it's going to affect a lot of teams. I mean, you could just check out, there's a lot to list, and I'm not going to list them all here. All right, as I said before, this first part will be talking about the AFC. And let's get started, shall we? Now, beginning in the AFC East, I'm going to try to make this short and sweet. I will immediately start first with why I think the team that I'm going to say is going to win the division, and then I'll give some quick thoughts on why the other teams are not going to win the division. But keep in mind, I'm also going to make wild card picks, and that's going to be the toughest picks in the videos. So beginning with the AFC East, so who do I have winning this division? Is it going to be the Jets, the Dolphins, the Patriots, or the Bills? Now, last year finally had a new divisional winner in this division after the Patriots have dominated this division in the last 18 years. It's been a long stretch. I mean, there's only been about, I think, 2 different divisional winners since then, since the Patriots have taken over. It's basically been the Dolphins and the Bills. Anyways, my divisional pick for the AFC East is going to be the Buffalo Bills again. They still have the same team from last season, and the question is, can Josh Allen finally make that next step in being an MVP caliber quarterback? Remember, Buffalo hasn't had a good team in years since the Jim Kelly days of the Buffalo Bills. And the reason why I say the Bills are going to win this division, because I'm looking at the other teams in that division as well. We all know the Jets are going to go nowhere. Obviously, they have already lost one player to injury, and we don't know who's going to be who is going to quarterback that team. If it's Zach Wilson going to get his start against the Jets, or the Jets going to have to go to a third string quarterback. And that Dolphins, we don't know what Tua it's Tula's team right now. Can they get that? Can Tua play like he did last season before there was some issues with his playmaking? Can he finally take that next step and lead this Miami team? The Patriots are an anomaly right now because after getting rid of Cam Newton because of COVID, basically Bill Belichick's already rolled the dice now with Mark Jones. I'm not ready to say that Mark Jones is going to be an elite quarterback in his first year. I think, to me, the Patriots got some other issues besides quarterback. They need to establish a running game. I didn't see much of it during the preseason. And obviously, defense-wise, they got to get better. So this is why the Patriots, I ruled them out as winning this division. And that's why I think the Buffalo Bills are going to win the AFC East right here. All right, let's go to the AFC North. This is definitely the toughest division in the conference. 3 teams are vying for that division. It's obviously the Browns, the Steelers, and the Ravens. I don't know about look, God only knows what's going to happen with the Cincinnati Bengals, and I don't know if Burrow is going to be the same player because he had a season injury last year. It's tough to say what that Bengals team is going to be. They need a lot more than just Burrow to be a competitive team in that division. Now, it's really hard to say who wins this division. Every NFL pundit has picked the Cleveland Browns to win this division, and I'm actually going to go with them as well. I think the Cleveland Browns will win the AFC North division, their first division title, probably in a long time. But keep in mind, the Ravens and the Steelers are going to be still competitive. Look, the Ravens, they may have lost a couple of key players and all that, but when you have Lamar Jackson, anything can go in that and with that Ravens team. And I cannot count out Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers yet. They still have a team that can still compete. But I just think the Browns are slowly starting to make a Super Bowl contending team. And it's really hard saying those words because this franchise hasn't done a lot in so long. As long as the Browns can keep the team together and they're on the same page, I like the Browns to win the AFC North division. AFC South. This is definitely one of the worst divisions is going to be one of the worst divisions this season. And I'm going to just go straight forward right now who I think. I just think, look, all four teams are really going to play terribly. I don't know. And the reason why I say that is because really Tennessee has been the only good contending team in that division because I don't see the Jaguars doing anything because Lawrence has playmakers with the Jaguars, but defense is going to be a huge problem for them. They've already lost some key players already to injury. I just think the Jaguars it's still going to be years before they can even be truly competitive. The Colts, I don't know what's going to happen with Carson Wentz if he can lead that team. I just think to me that the Tennessee Titans are the team that's going to win this division by default. I don't think they're going to be that competitive. They're not going to be a great football team in that division, but it's going to be good enough to get into the playoffs because really, let's face it, the Texans are going to be horrible. So is the Jaguars, and we don't know what's going to happen with the Colts. Let's see if the Carson Wentz experiment works out for them. And it's obvious to me that the Tennessee Titans are going to easily win this division. I don't know if it's going to be a landslide win, sort of like a 13-4 type of record or something like that. I think to me, it's going to be sort of like a 10-7 or something like that, or maybe a 9-8, something like that, because the division is really terrible. And going over to the AFC West. This is another anomaly here, but every pundit has said the Chiefs are going to win this division, and I absolutely agree. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are still going to dominate this division for quite some time because you just cannot. It is so hard to bring down Patrick Mahomes and that offense. Now, keep in mind, every pundit has said that the Chargers with Justin Herbert are expected to get a little bit better this season. It's really hard to say with this Charger team because I follow the Chargers more than any other NFL team, even though I'm supposed to be neutral. The problem I see with the Chargers here, they still have problems in special teams. Their defense still needs some work, and the offensive line, can this offensive line protect Justin Herbert? Because that was one of the main problems last season. Justin Herbert would have had a tremendous rookie season, a lot better, maybe better record for the Chargers last year, but obviously the offensive line really was a problem for them. It's tough to say if the Chargers finally made those improvements. The Raiders, I don't know what's going to happen with them, really. The Raiders are a mess right now, and I don't know if David Carr is going to be quarterback for that team if they continue to struggle. Denver Broncos, they also have some quarterback issues as well. And it's really just a two-team race in this division. It's really the Chiefs and the Chargers going to be vying for this division. But the Chiefs, they're a team that I don't think either team any team in that AFC West is going to stop them. The Chiefs are going to win this division pretty easily here. That's why I'm picking the Chiefs to win the AFC West. Now, here are my toughest picks coming up right here, and that is the wild card picks. Here are my 3 wild card picks here. look, this is just, remember, this is opinionated. Anything could happen in the regular season, and this is going to be my picks for the AFC wildcards. It is going to be the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Chargers. And a lot of you are probably saying, okay, you talked about the Chargers a few minutes ago, and you're saying that they're not. Look, I'm not ready to buy the Patriots as a playoff team yet, because let's see if Mark Jones can live up to the hype as he's receiving so much praise from Bill Belichick. I'm not going to say that I'm convinced that Mark Jones is going to lead the Patriots to the postseason, because the Patriots, they do have a running game problem. Their defense is not that good. It's really tough to say right now, but that is why I still think that two teams out of the AFC North, and I'm also going to throw in the Chargers. I think all three of those teams, the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Chargers, are going to make the postseason. And there's one more pick that I'm going to make right here. Now, the NFL bases their MVP for the whole league. I'm going to go into a little bit of a different direction, and what I think is going to be the player of the conference all season. So I call this the AFC Conference Player of the Season. And no doubt, I'm pretty sure anybody who says that who's the best player in the conference is definitely, I think it's going to be, for the third year in a row, I still think it's going to be Patrick Mahomes. It's really tough to say who else in that conference is good. I mean, Josh Allen can make a case. Baker Mayfield can make a case for who's gonna be the player in that conference to really dominate all season. But it's really been Patrick Mahomes, and I don't see any change here. I really think that Patrick Mahomes is going to be the AFC Conference Player of the Season. He's my MVP for the AFC Conference. Anyways, my friends, that's it for my AFC predictions here. Stay tuned for part 2 of this video, where I get into the NFC Conference. I give my division picks for that one, and the wild card as well, and who I think is going to be the NFC Conference Player of the Season, which is the NFC MVP. Anyways, everybody, I'll talk to you in the next video.